missing. So I'll call to order this meeting of the Berea. Oh, okay. Now we're live? Yes. All right. Welcome everyone to the Wednesday, January 10th Berea Tourism Commission meeting. I'll call the roll. Will Gover. Here. Laura Carpenter.
Here.
Karen Crawford.
Here.
Shelley West.
Here.
And Rick Thomas here. I'll give you a few seconds to look over the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion's been made. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I'll call for a vote. Will?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Shelley?
Yes.
And I'm a yes also. Take a few minutes and look over last meeting's minutes.
I noticed on the commissioners present, my name's not on here, but I was here.
So we need to make that adjustment. All in favor of making that adjustment, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any further comments or adjustments? Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from December 13th, 2023?
Motion.
I have a motion by Mr. Goer. Have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Aaron. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. First up on the agenda is Mr. Brian Reed. Update on the, I assume on the toll building.
Hello everybody. I'm sure y'all have noticed we've had a lot of people working the toll building if you drove by in the last month. Since then, the structural changes we spoke about last month have been completed, and that allowed us to resume work in the back of the building. The landscape island on the west side of the building has been removed and the parking lot has been re-poured. The plumbing rough-in in the back of the building has been completed and inspected. The grease trap has been installed. All of the sheetrock has been hung and finished now. The ceiling grid has been installed throughout, and the openings for the new doors and windows have been cut out, and there's masons on site filling them back into the proper size right now, and the gas meter has been relocated to allow for the installation of the new rear door. Anybody have any questions concerning the progress?
Brian, how as far as percentage of completion, what would be your estimate?
Probably 70% complete. It's a lot of items been lagging behind. You know, we've had a lot moving forwards, kind of got out of order, you know, waiting on the changes that we made, but we're down to pretty much finishes now. Donna's been picking out a lot of the interior finishes. Like I say, even some of the ceiling grid or ceiling tiles are being installed, the cut piece around the edges. So it's come along pretty good, with the exception of the porch. We haven't begun that yet.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Reed?
He's here for your benefit, so feel free to ask any questions if you have anything that you want to ask on the work of the toll. So, and they are moving really well. I'm just very pleased with the contractor and the work they're putting out.
Sure.
And the time span, you know. I told him the other day, I said, "You're shocking me," you know, because we're always used to it taking so much longer per step, but they've been super on top of everything. So good report.
Brian, I guess it's impossible to always say if you anticipate any change orders coming up, but I think structurally everything's...
Yeah, we don't have anything in the works right now. If we had any, it would probably be down to finishes now, you know, if we upgrade any finishes, anything like that. But yeah, I don't anticipate any right now.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next up on the agenda is a Right Place Media. Mr. Joel Rapp and Marissa Mortensen. You can speak in the microphone, sir. Welcome.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. All right, so Joel Rapp, president and owner of Right Place Media, and Marissa Martinson just joined us in November. So she's Amanda Olmstead's replacement, and we've been working with Marissa on getting her kind of trained up on the attributes of Berea, working most recently with us on the reporting. The plan, of course, is based on a July through June fiscal year. So we're in the middle of the plan. What we're going to present to you today is just some updates on some things that are going on in the tourism industry, some of the research we have, and then we're also going to share with you a report for the July through December portion of our advertising, how that has been performing for us. So that's kind of the agenda. Let's see. Oh, blank one. Okay. All right. There we go. Okay, and Marissa, what she's passing out is a copy of this. So if you can't see it on the screen there, you do have a copy in front of you. So there's two documents. This one is the presentation. The other one included in the presentation is a copy of our annual media flow chart. It's not as easy to read on the presentation, so we wanted to include a larger copy so you could see more of the details if you would like. So just on page 3, we have some industry research, and this is conducted by the Kentucky Department of Tourism's advertising department, and this is with an organization called Longwoods International. This is one of the studies we refer to every year. We just look at making comparisons of, you know, kind of what's changed since, you know, really since 2020. We've seen a lot of differences with consumers, what's driving them to go on vacations. And, you know, during the pandemic, it was more shut down. They were looking for safety. It was a lot more of a concern. Now what's happening, you know, today, how's that evolving? And then really, how does that affect our advertising? You know, what messages do we need to kind of deploy more? Is there any new creative we need to look at as far as themes, things like that, that maybe we don't currently have developed? So on this ROI study, what it shows on the left-hand side, it shows, you know, what their wish list is. So whenever travelers are looking for a place to go to, you know, top of the list, it's exciting. We did go ahead and make a comparison, because I look at it and it's like, okay, well, the chart on the top right just shows what those levels of importance are, but how's that changing? So, you know, exciting has always been the top, adult destination second, And that's for people that are traveling to Kentucky. So this is a little bit more relevant to Berea versus, looking at national, people that may be interested in beach vacations and those type of things. So people that are traveling to Kentucky, this is what they're looking for. Family atmosphere, that's ranked third now. Looks like we lost our signal. It's ranked third now versus last year. And the study, it says 2022, the study was conducted March 2023. So it's the most recent data available, but that compares to the previous study, which was for the calendar year 2021. Family atmosphere has improved from sixth ranked to third ranked. Sightseeing has declined slightly, and you can kind of go on down the list there and see, the ones that are increasing are family atmosphere, popular, and worry-free. The ones that are downtrending are sightseeing, unique, entertainment, and luxurious. So really don't see much there in terms of what we need to do in terms of messaging. One important thing to kind of point out, you always look at the bottom of this list and it says affordability. And it's like, okay, do people, they don't care about it, how much it costs? It's like, well, this is their wish list. And a lot of times what we wish for, we can't afford. So once you kind of go through your wish list and you start looking at, okay, now they start paring it down to what they can afford. So even though it ranks last, it is a factor that they do consider whenever they're looking for a place to travel to. Next slide. While we mess with our technology, I'm glad we brought printed copies. But this shows the activities that are participated on overnight trips to Kentucky. So these are people that are traveling to Kentucky and staying overnight. Top one, and these are ranked on the left-hand side for 2022. Right-hand side just shows kind of the trend versus 2021. And we see that shopping is still number one, although fewer people, a lower percentage of people are actually, whenever they make the trip, their lower percentage are shopping. So it goes from 49 to 41%. You can kind of see on down. So unique and local foods went from, it's number two still, but it's went from 43 to 38%. So there's just a little bit more diversity in the things that they're doing. Used to, during the pandemic, it maybe they were making more, one night visits and things like that, and they were doing more shopping and eating out. And now it's like they're participating in more of our attributes, including some of the hiking and other outdoor activities and museums and those type of things. The next slide is slide 5, and that just shows what people are, what actions they're taking if to obtain information about traveling to Kentucky. So whenever someone is aware of Kentucky, they'll go do an internet search and look for things to do. And so that's the first thing. 33% of those that are looking for information about traveling to Kentucky will visit the internet. So they'll find our website, hopefully. They will, 21% will visit KentuckyTourism.com. We are present on KentuckyTourism.com with our media plan. They look at social media, so Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So those platforms are active on as well. They'll download the guide, the tourism guide from the Kentucky Tourism. They'll contact the Convention and Visitors Bureau, or they'll actually call the Kentucky Tourism's office. So, of course, Berea has that attribute as well, and this is not included in the research. So, next slide, 6, just shows us Kentucky Tourism's advertising awareness by medium. So, in the past, we've looked at, and we'll continue to look at, what the media usage trends are amongst adults. And we do know that internet continues to grow, digital advertising usage continues to grow. People are spending more time with digital. We are seeing television usage decline, and so people are using YouTube, they're using streaming television, some other things like that, and those things are part of our media plan. But in looking at this says how do people become aware of Kentucky tourism? And number one was video. So video is going to be like TV, YouTube, connected TV, anything, digital video, anything that has video. Not really much of a surprise because video is more, it does interrupt programming, and therefore you're kind of forced to pay attention to it. It does have other attributes that are sight, sound, motion that draw our attention versus a static ad that's easier to kind of look over. But video being number one, print ads number two, which we are active on those. Print and digital about the same. So really print still plays an important part of overall tourism awareness building. Social media, and then radio and outdoors. So all played a cumulative effect to creating awareness, but it was led by those video platforms. Page 7 and 8 do have the media plan on there. It's broken into 2 slides because of really the size of the flow chart, and again you have the larger version of the flow chart there in front of you if you'd like to look at it, but it does break down, you know, all of the advertising we're doing, and then the months that we're doing it in, so you can get a feel for kind of where our next activities are going to be. And like I mentioned, this is laid out July through June, so dead center of the flow chart is where we're at right now, and beginning of January. Slide 9, we get into looking at our reporting for kind of year to date. So this is 6 months of reporting. So looking first at our device ID targeted digital display. And so this is display ads that appear on your mobile phone that's device ID targeted. So each of the phones has a device ID on it. If anybody has their locations enabled in any form, which most people do because of the weather, you know, if you're using Google Maps or anything like that, it's got to know kind of where your location is. So we'll look at targeting people that have visited Berea in the past. So those people, we want them to come back, but we will target them not if they're in Berea, but if that device has been here before and wherever it's at outside of the city. We also target based on interests, so any interests that are related to Berea, which outdoor, those type of things are included. And then markets. So we've been doing some test marketing on our advertising. So during the first part of this fiscal year, we did targeting in Indianapolis and in Lansing, Michigan. So these impressions here were delivered to Indianapolis and Lexington. The objective of the campaign, and this is really for all the awareness we're doing, there's different ways to deploy digital advertising. You do it based on awareness, which is really trying to create awareness of the attributes of Berea, make people aware of it. There are direct response tactics, and you think of just a simple one as Google search. You go into Google search, you type in, you know, best places to visit, and then you'll have a number of people that'll pop up on a sponsored listing on something like that. Somebody clicks on it, you pay for it. So that's more of a direct response objective, and our objective's really been more about creating awareness and then getting people to do the searches subsequently. So as they're kind of doing their searches, hopefully they'll find us organically because they're aware of us through our other advertising. Some examples of the ads are there on that page. The next page, page 10, this is kind of the eye chart, and one reason I wanted to go ahead and print this out because it's got a lot of detail in there. We actually included 2 images this time, so the left-hand side just gives you a different display of, I was mentioning, the mobile device ID targeted display. So this is basically says people that have visited Berea, this is their evening location. So we call this common evening dwell time. So if there's a device that has been here, but it's not here, you know, like you guys that live here, it goes elsewhere. In the evenings we can see, you know, where those people are concentrated at. So the left-hand side shows more of that concentration on kind of a geographic radius as far as looking at maybe the number of devices that are in there, and then that area. So it's kind of hard to understand, so I put the chart on the right-hand side, which it really just kind of goes with our common sense, where we know people, the I-75 corridor is where we get a majority of our visits from, and you can kind of follow it up, you know, gone through Lexington, on through Cincinnati, and kind of on north, and that's the reason we're testing this Lansing market. But then if you follow it to the left-hand side, you can see Indianapolis has a number of devices there that have evening dwell times that have visited Berea, so that's another reason for kind of targeting those markets. So it's a way for us to kind of reach out and let's see if we can reach people that we know have been here, but also we want to reach people that are in areas that people are likely to come from but may not have been here, and that's through the other interest targeting, the outdoor recreation and other things that we offer, the arts and crafts. Any questions so far? Okay.
Joe, let me ask you about
Yeah.
this media plan.
Uh-huh.
Could you explain the difference between the connected TV and the TV, television on the back page where it says WDRB?
Yeah, that's a great question, Rick. Thank you. So connected TV, it's any television ads that are served through a streaming device, so like a Roku or a Amazon Fire, those type of devices. And there's a number of options they have to view underneath that. There's movies that are free. There's other content that you could even I'm skipping over to because there's YouTube also. So there's YouTube, which is also streaming television, but it's bought through YouTube, but it also appears on YouTube TV, so it could be like cable. But the WDRB is a program, I think it's called the Crossroads program, that we did with them. That's kind of an infomercial program that we did with the traditional television station out of Louisville that airs in Louisville. So it's they came and recorded a video. They did an interview, or not really an interview, but just talked about a lot of the attributes and stuff of Berea. But it airs on traditional TV there on WDRB in Louisville, so it's different there. So.
You know, as far as the, obviously we can't put ads out throughout the whole year.
Right.
So we had to be strategic about where we place those and when we place those.
Right.
So what kind of strategy are you employing as far as when we're placing those ads? And I'm particularly thinking about around the craft fair time. Do we do any kind of blast, promote special big things during the year?
Yeah, and we do flight our media, try to flight our media based on when our highest traffic opportunities, like immediately prior to our highest traffic opportunities, and then we work closely with the marketing department on messaging and craft fair, any other things we can do to promote those events. So, but it is concentrated towards when there is a higher propensity for people to make decisions about traveling into Berea. So.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, page 11. So this is again the same study from 2022 that was conducted in March 2023 for the state of Kentucky, and this gives an idea of demographics. So this gives us ethnicity of people that visit Kentucky, their income, their age, and their education. And so this helps us to understand people that are going to be traveling to this area, what their different demographics are, and then where we can kind of look at those in terms of targeting as well. So we look at interest, we look at geography, and we look at demographics. So the people that visit Kentucky are more likely to be kind of middle income. There's a high concentration of under 18, which I thought was kind of interesting. That's probably kids that are traveling with their parents. If you remember back at the kind of the beginning of the study, they were looking for places that they can go as a family. So that's likely going to be children of, I guess, parents. And then education, they tend to be, some college or more. So a little bit more educated probably goes along with, mid to a little bit higher level of income. So median home value, $191,000. So a little bit above, maybe a little bit more upscale target. Let's see, looking at slide 12, when we get into our digital display retargeting. So retargeting is a tactic that we use if somebody visits the Berea tourism website, visitberea.com, then we tag them and know that it's like they've showed an interest in Berea, and we target people that are not in the city of Berea. So anybody here that visit Berea or visitberea.com, you don't get served ads, but they serve ads to those people after they visited. So it's a way to say these people have visited, that they've showed some interest. We want to continue to build awareness among them. You'll see that a lot of times whenever people are shopping for, you yourself maybe start shopping for shoes or something like that, and then all of a sudden you start seeing those ads pop up after you visited that, and it's like, wait a minute, So that's what that is. That's retargeting. So for retargeting, that is really driven by people that are visiting the website. We did deliver 72,546 impressions during the first 6 months of our fiscal year. With those ads, we got 176 clicks and a 0.24% click-through rate. So top cities for this, and this really just reflects the people that are visiting. The visitberea.com is Louisville, Lexington, and Cincinnati, again, where the majority of our visitors are coming from. So it just kind of reflects the fact that, we continue to see good traffic from that area. Slide 13 just shows our social media. We do have ads for arts, outdoors, and dining. So we have 6 different executions that we have running on social media. And then the next few slides are going to show you kind of how those performed. And this is kind of insightful for us because it gives us an idea of, out of the ads, what are people more likely to engage with. So the reporting will show us that. So when you look at on slide 14, top left, you see, we had 438,000 impressions delivered in Lexington. And then those bar charts below that show the impressions by creative version and the clicks by creative version. So the way we deploy the campaigns is those 6 ads that I just showed you, all those are deployed at the same time with equal representation. And there's algorithms that our social media platforms will recognize those ads that people are more likely to engage with. And so they'll serve more impressions of those ads. And so that gives us an idea of what people are interested in. And in Lexington is interesting because it is insightful because it gives us an idea. Lexington it's dining, art, jewelry, and art, candles, I guess, was the other execution of the ad. So really it's primarily dining, but it kind of makes sense because then, it's close. They can, go out to eat, for an evening, maybe stay a night. Go over to Cincinnati, then that number 1 shifts to art and jewelry. So, it's a little bit further for them to travel to go, to Berea. So they're going to come here, be more interested in, some of the crafts and things like that we have than they may be for just the dining. And then same thing for Louisville, art and jewelry. So it's Louisville and Cincinnati are fairly similar as far as their engagement with ads. So you see how those are kind of delivered. Going down to Indianapolis and Lansing. Indianapolis follows kind of the Louisville and Cincinnati mindset as far as art, jewelry. Lansing was they had more impressions delivered on dining, but they actually had more clicks on the art. So it was a little bit more equal delivery too. We only deployed 3 different ads there in the Lansing area, so you can kind of see how those break out. We do have Asheville, North Carolina coming up as a test market next, and that's going to be starting in March. Then slide 16 is for connected TV. We had 650,000 impressions planned. The way digital works is it's on a bid basis, and so we look at what the projected bid costs are when we plan, and then we do everything we can to optimize it. In some cases, we'll see over delivery, and which we hope for. We're trying to create awareness, so the more over delivery we can get, the better. Sometimes because of other activity, other advertisers coming in. One thing we've seen in the state of Kentucky that's really starting to put a lot of pressure on advertising pricing. Of course, we're going to get political this year, but we've seen the gambling and those DraftKings, and I mean they've really been driving the pricing up on a lot of stuff. So we might not see as much over delivery as we get into the first half of this year, but we'll continue to monitor it, make sure we make adjustments if needed. But we did over deliver quite a bit in July through December. Planned 650,000 impressions, delivered over 1 million. Of those impressions, we delivered 1,055,000 impressions. 98.4% of those impressions were viewed all the way through the commercial. So that 30-second commercial, 100% of the commercials watched by 98% of the people that are the impressions that were delivered. The other thing that's nice on the connected TV side is, you know, whenever you're watching your streaming television, you're generally going to be watching on your large screen. And it's not just you in the room. It might be you and your wife, or you and your kids, or other family members, a friend, if you're watching a ball game or something. But this only counts as one impression. So those impressions cannot be measured. So it's served one time on the screen, but it could be 4 people saw it. So that's really 4 impressions, but we can't account for it. We know we got 1,000 ads or 1 million ads served. But you know, we know we got at least 1 million impressions. So really pleased with that. And we got a great completion rate, which shows that there is an interest in the commercial, but also there's less clutter in connected TV, so people want to continue watching their movies, so they don't turn it off, and they can't change channels or, you know, pause it and skip it later. This is something that is a great attribute for us media professionals, where it's like we want people to pay attention to the commercials. So same thing with YouTube. On YouTube we buy 15-second non-skippable. We are buying YouTube in Lexington, Louisville, Cincinnati, and buying based on those interests. Crafts and outdoors, planned 500,000 impressions, delivered 720,000 impressions. Again, since we're buying these non-skippable, people are wanting to stay tuned in to watch all their content, so they are 97.57% watching the entire 15 seconds. So really pleased with that. So it does show more effective use of the media. You can see how those impressions broke out by region, and then the clicks by region do reflect that as well. A lot of these, you know, clicks aren't as much of an objective, because we are seeing a higher and higher percent of our impressions on YouTube being delivered on big screens. And it's a little bit more difficult to click on your big screen. The only thing you'll see sometimes, does anybody in here have YouTube TV? So if you're watching YouTube TV, you'll notice there are some breaks where you'll see skip ad. Those are it's a YouTube ad is what that is. It's not a cable commercial or a national commercial. It's something that somebody's buying on a local basis. And we've been really happy with the fact that YouTube has opened it up to YouTube TV as well. So if we buy YouTube, we're paying about 1/3 of what it costs to get an impression on connected TV. But we've been having impressions fall in, you know, ESPN football games on the weekends, a lot of higher rated programming, because, you know, YouTube owns, or Google owns YouTube. They own YouTube TV, so they got to do something with that open inventory, so they're starting to put insertions in there. So it has dropped the pricing down a little bit too, which has allowed us to over deliver. So we've been really happy with how that's been delivering. Okay, just a few more slides. This just shows you some print ads that we ran during the first 6 months of the year. We've got the Kentucky Visitor's Guide there on page 18 left, and then the Sophisticated Living we ran in. The page 19 shows our ad we had in Ace Magazine in October, and then we did a holiday ad in December in Ace Magazine for gifting, which is on the bottom right as well. So with that, that's our presentation for today. We do have an appendix in there that just it explains, gives some terminology for some things. If I'd mentioned some words that you're like, I don't know what that means, those are in there. We have a lot of times our own acronyms and own language, but I'd be happy to answer any questions if anybody has anything.
Joe,
All right.
I had a question. If we could go back to page, I think it was on page 9.
Okay.
On the influence location visit report there, where we had 692,290 impressions, 563 on the clicks, and 0.08 on the CTR. That's low. That's
Yep.
not the benchmark. Was
Yeah.
that just showing that it wasn't a good fit for us?
Yeah, it's a great question. In a lot of cases, when you look at the creative, it's something that we probably want to look at, and I'm glad you brought that up because we talked about it internally. There's not really a call to action. A lot of times people are going to click if it's like it says learn more. It says, visit here, get more information, download the tourist guide or whatever. And on these ads, I'm not seeing that. So that's something that we talked about, and I'll follow back up with you on that. But it's a great point, because when you see an ad, of course, we're trying to create awareness, but whenever we do have the ability, like we would through this platform, of getting people to engage more, then it's like if they click on it, we want to make sure that we give them a reason to click and then give them more information. Because when we look back at, the Kentucky research was showing, over 30% of people are visiting, the internet in order to find out more about, the destinations or whatever they're wherever they're wanting to go. So we want to do everything we can to kind of bring them there, make it easier. So, yeah, but thank you.
I had a question.
Yeah.
You're talking about Asheville being an upcoming test market. How is that chosen? Is it something you're seeing an increase in travelers over something like Knoxville or Chattanooga?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking somewhere else on 75, but Asheville's a little off.
No,
there.
that's a good point as well. And I know we talked about it, and Amanda, I know, had been in some discussions on it. Was it based on the device ID? Whenever we're looking at the map on the next page, we had kind of expanded the map area, and we were seeing some activity in that area. I think that's it, wasn't it? Yeah, okay. Yeah, so if you look at the map, we try to follow this map and learning. It's like, okay, people that have visited Berea in the past, and this is the past 6 months. So, this isn't a year of data, but there was some more devices showing up in that area. So it's like, let's try to see if we know some people come from that area. Let's see if we can run ads there to get more to come from that area. So it's kind of a fishing expedition, if you will.
I think that's a good idea to target more towards Knoxville, because they're just hour and a half, 2 hours from us.
Yeah, and we have done some stuff down in Knoxville before, and we didn't really see much of a change in our heat map, if you will. The device ID thing. It seems like north has better propensity to come south. A lot of those may be headed to Florida, and they're going to stay a night or two here on their way down. That's kind of what we think from 75. But Indianapolis, of course, is off the beaten path off of the 75, and that's why we wanted to try that. And there's some other future areas that we want to look at as well. We want to see how this is performing, and continue to monitor it. And to Donna's point, let's make sure we can get that click-through rate up, because it could be if we have a clear call to action on it and they're still not clicking on it, then there may not be as much of an interest. And so that gives us some good feedback for should we, be advertising here or maybe concentrating more in another area. So, but we want to continue to kind of learn from what we are doing and kind of expand that. And if there is more opportunity there, spend more money in those areas. So.
I'll ask you just an opinion on something, because this morning and yesterday I received several reports on the trends of traveling changing for 2024. And I'm not putting you on the spot, so don't even answer if you don't know this, but I just really wanted to kind of hear your feedback on it. But it was really talking more about we're going to see more leisure travel locally throughout Kentucky than we have in years. But the negative to that is we're going to see more international travel, with people going back to Caribbean cruises and international trips. So we've seen our numbers down just a little bit on the outdoor piece of sightseeing, hiking, whatever. Is that an area that we should play more into for the local community here in Berea, to keep more leisure travel but build it up into a bigger piece as well?
Yeah. Anecdotally, I'm kind of hearing the same thing, that people had stopped taking a lot of those bigger trips, and so they're breaking it up into more weekend trips, if you will. And then it seems like that's been growing. Of course, we keep having, the COVID issue will show up whenever, but it seems like people aren't as afraid of it anymore, so they're more willing to say, I'll go on that cruise even though there's a chance I may get the flu or whatever. Let's get my shots and hope nothing happens. But I do think, and that's one reason I wanted to look at some of this research. It's like, so why are people, what is on their wish list, and whenever they're doing it, what are they doing? We're seeing, even though it's still number one, like a lower percent of people shopping. And so it's like, okay, so they spend less money, or they just have different interests now. And before, I think it was because people, they still wanted to go shopping, but or they wanted to continue their shopping, but they would go, more locally than they would, go spend money on international trips and things like that. So I do think that, we need to take that information and look at, okay, for creative for next year, and even, the future creative we develop, let's make sure we kind of take that into consideration and really focus on those attributes that are going to be more inviting to people that would visit Berea, and know that, there is a chance that we're going to lose share to some of these other international destinations, and what can we do to offset that. So it's something we'll take that challenge to our creative people and see what we can come up with.
I'd like to ask your opinion also on international travel, because that is something the governor is really pushing, and he's put a lot of money out there to bring more international travel tourists into the state of Kentucky. That is not an area that we have really promoted anyway, but we did this summer have 3 different countries that were here visiting that were tour agents from there. So it has been a thing that to take into consideration of marketing in that direction, as well as social media wise. So do you think that is something we should be looking at before the summer hits us? Or?
Do you, and I need to look into it too, or what is the state really trying to leverage on an international basis? Are they really pushing the bourbon trail hard?
They are.
Okay.
Horses, bourbon, and actually arts and crafts was number 5 on the list.
Right.
So dining was 3, so.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it just was really interesting to show that the average international customer that comes here to spend money spends more than the local national person spends in our country.
This is their big vacation.
So the dollar is there, so I can understand the push to bring more business here through that area.
Yeah, so I'll look at kind of what they're promoting internationally, and then the attributes that we offer that are part of what that is that's bringing people in, and make sure we kind of emphasize that more. But now, as far as international travel, of course, we're not advertising international. We are, I guess, through KentuckyTourism.com and through the programs that we're doing with them, because that does extend over there. And there is a chance that, I hadn't seen our Google Analytics, but if we're getting visitors that are looking at Berea's website from, overseas, but if they are, they're going to get some of the retargeting ads served to them. So. But yeah, let me get with the team on that and see. But I do think that if the state is going to be promoting it, then we need to be part of it, especially since we do offer, some of the attributes that they are promoting, and reasons that people would want to come to Kentucky that is unique. So.
Okay, good deal.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Joe, I have a similar question. I think the way Donna started out, we have several billboards, and I see other communities have billboards on I-75. What's your opinion on the effectiveness of billboards, and is there any way to measure that?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of our stuff, it's difficult because it's awareness, and when the whole idea of the billboard is really, we want them to be aware that Berea is a tourist destination for those people that are traveling on that corridor, and that is kind of our core opportunity. I do think that we can look at refreshing creative some if there's people that are traveling a little bit more often, but a lot of these are once or twice a year, maybe people that are going by. But yeah, I mean, it's almost impossible to measure. It's just one of those that they see it and think, oh, Berea is a place to visit. They may do an internet search on that. They may stop on one of their exits that they're going to get gas, and maybe decide they're going to eat, and hopefully find more to do once they're here, or make a plan to come back. I do think it is important, just because it does create awareness of Berea, or maintain awareness of Berea to those people that are going up and down that corridor. But it comes down to really making sure it's in a visible location, and I'm glad you've seen it. And that's why some other I guess communities are doing some of the ads as well, because it does catch people's attention. It does make them aware of it. Of course, you're in the restaurant business. We know that it does, create awareness, promotions, and drive traffic. And those type of things. But I do think it is an important part of it, our overall strategy. And of course, we're not putting a whole lot to it. We actually, I know at one time we talked about doing some posters in some markets, and instead of like device ID, but it's so expensive to do poster campaigns that we just kind of stuck with the directionals that are on the interstate. So,
Okay. Any other questions?
all right,
All right.
appreciate
Thank-
it.
One
Thank
more
you.
question, back to Rick, piggybacking on the billboards. Have you seen a change or a trend, a new trend in the visual that's going on these billboards? We in the past have pretty much been cut and dry, exit 77, exit whatever, visit Berea. So we've not really done a lot with anything else, because in the past we were always told, don't do this, don't do that, too much is too much. But I've noticed in my travels that I do see more visual, an art object, for instance, on there, or more dining pictures are being shown and less words. So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of course, the creative is subjective. The challenge we get into is that, we want to put, a TV ad into a billboard, and it really makes it difficult because you do that and it's like, I don't know what that says. And you drive down the interstate, you'll see those. It's like,
What
that's a
is
waste
it?
of money. Just, right now, just the exit, where it's at. Of course, we do have our tourism signs up on the interstate as well, which I think are beneficial, which I think enhance the advertising we are doing. I do think if there's an art item that we could feature that is clear what it is in a quick, second, then I think that could be included. So that's something, we can work with you on, trying to come up with some visuals whenever we need to refresh the creative, but, and certainly happy to do that. But you want to make sure that it's something that people understand quickly. And that's why the feedback's always been, no, don't add all that, don't add all that. It's like, it's got to be short and sweet. And it's an effective medium if the creative is understandable. So,
Very good.
yeah.
We have billboard wrap due this year, so that's one of the things we've
Yeah.
been thinking about, the new text and copy of what we want to say and
Yeah, perfect.
point to drive home. So
Great.
we'll work with you on that.
Marissa, make a note of it.
Yes, I will. I'm ready notes.
Yeah, but we're happy to have Marissa on the team. I'm glad for you to get a chance to meet her, and we'll continue to work together on this. This is an important relationship for us. We thank you for everything, and have a great love for Berea, and want to continue to help us grow our travel business. So,
All right, thanks a lot.
thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, I see public comments. I don't think I see anybody here that, from the public, that maybe want to make a comment, so we'll continue on. Director's report, Ms. Donna Angel.
Thank you, Joel and Marissa, for coming down today. We appreciate it, and we learn from you guys, and it takes all of us together to figure out what's best for Berea. So we appreciate all the commissioners' feedback and questions and so forth. Before we get started here, I would like to take a moment to welcome our two new commissioners on board with us, Miss Shelley Wolf over here and Will Gover here. We are delighted to have you join our team. I told them they wouldn't have any hair left by the time we finished with them, but they were okay with that. Will said he'd cut his barbershop bill down, But we're delighted to have them with us, and we also want to thank Christy Napier for her service that she has dealt with us in the last 3 years as a chamber member as well. So we look forward to working with you and hearing your knowledge and your input, and we had a great orientation yesterday, so welcome aboard for that. Also, before we get started here, I'm going to ask Miss Becky Brown to step to the podium. We're used to seeing Becky Brown as a commissioner for us and a business owner here in town. So I thought it would be nice. We don't want to throw a lot at her today, but she has some great news, as you've been shared with over the last month. But we'll hear just a comment from Becky and thank her for her venue change of life change here for us. So,
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Becky. As Donna said, I am the new media manager here at Berea Tourism. Thank you, Marissa and Joel, by the way. I look forward to working with you all. You guys did a great presentation. As I have shifted my business, Becky Brown Jewelry, to online, I carry with me various media and marketing skills. I designed and maintained my website. I took product photos and videos, created social media content, and designed promotional materials for my business. I also received a bachelor's in fine arts from EKU, so I'm excited to put that to use as well. I now have the opportunity to promote something that is near and dear to my heart, Berea, so I'm excited for that. I have a lot to learn, and I just started, but I have already learned so much from Miss Donna and Danny and the rest of the team. I am very grateful for the opportunity to join a team that is, you're so knowledgeable and passionate about what you do. So, commissioners, I can't express my gratitude and excitement enough for this opportunity. So I look forward to seeing you all as I start in this new role. Thank you.
I'll move on. Joel, just for you and Marissa, you're more than welcome to stay for the full meeting, but if you have other things you need to do, you may feel free to leave, but we welcome you to stay with us. Some of the articles that we've been written about that are not paid advertising recently, again, Southern Destinations is really a great writer for us, and we appreciate all of the, I can't begin to call them all off, the small charming towns, just great destination towns, small towns you don't want to miss. I mean, they are all over Berea, so we are always in their top 10, and just a wonderful opportunity for showing the rewards that we've done in the last few years on our marketing plan that has promoted us throughout the state of Kentucky and other states as well. Travel Host Magazine was great. We currently have, I believe Joel is coming up, a great Valentine's ad for that one, so we hope that will be driven toward all of the retail shops in town. Just overall retail period. It doesn't matter if it's an art and craft maker, or it is a florist, or it is a bookshop. It's all retail. So our marketing and our advertising is really trying to be more neutral to everything, to help our small business owners in our city to be a part and to feel the rewards of visitors coming and tourists into our city as well. Lexington Herald, I hope you caught it. They wrote a wonderful 2-page article on us for our Hallmark Christmas. Again, this is about the 3rd time that Berea has been presented by them as a Hallmark Christmas story for everyone to visit. So thank you to all of you that participated, plus all of our Public Works team and Berea Utilities team that were hands-on in getting our city decorated for that. So that's quite an honor to carry that title for 3 straight years. So we are very pleased to be recognized in that manner. On our marketing level 2024, one of the things that I want and have been working on already is to work with more non-tourism brand businesses. As we talk about, Danny, for instance, may have a jewelry shop, but she also may be a great teacher in a field that draws more attention to Berea, as Liz has been working with the KED group on education through our arts and craft makers. So that has showed me a lot of interest throughout other counties that want to do more things like that, and how we promote ourselves to them, as well as partnering more on local things with our local businesses on a one-to-one basis, that we can help highlight a really big event more. I think there's a lot of open door opportunity there that we can show more support. So that is an area that you're going to see us doing more. One of Becky's first leads out is that she will be working more on creating a big, huge focus on destination. we talk about tourism being a convention commission. So Shelley and Will and I talked about this yesterday. It's all our jobs to really promote Berea as a destination point. And to do that, I don't look at it as a weakness in any way of saying what's your one draw point. We, Berea, are very blessed, and we hear it from different cities all the time. We're not just one thing. You know, we have great outdoor adventure pieces here. We have great unique dining restaurants. We have great artists and craft makers here. We have terrific educational pieces that intertwine with all of those entities. And we have great industry here that wants to be a community partner. So it's very, very important to us to stay on target of what we stand for and not be considered one thing. I think in the past we've done that. So we've shown that that doesn't always work. So you've got maybe your main thing, which is always going to be arts and crafts. That's what we were birthed with here. But we have so many things around us that pull us to the giant circle of everything else that we have to offer. You may come here and you may say, I'm not going for arts and crafts, but I'm going to take a walk, or I'm going to take a bike ride, you know, and different things like that. So that's what we want more of. You know, if you give us 2 hours of your time to shop, tour, create an item, and then you give us 2 hours at the Pinnacles or elsewhere in town, that's just creating a bigger hub. And on the recent report that I had, it also showed where we are now really pushing a new targeted age area. Berea, we talked a little bit about it last year in 23, how we've changed our demographic from maybe 55 to 70 to where we moved up about 2 years ago to where we came back up around 65 to 55. So now we have a terrific base of targeted people that are at the age group of 35 to 50. So that shows us more and more people are coming for other things. So again, that's where Joel and Marissa are doing great tracking jobs to show us what they're coming here for. And whether it be the Pinnacles, hiking, biking, kayaking, dining, number one on one of the reports here. So those help us gear up to guide ourselves to where we need to do more local promoting and marketing and staying on top of that while it's a hot trend for us, totally. That's about all I'm going to report because I want to take us directly into our budget. It is, once again, you'll find in your packet, please, if you'll pull out your amended budget packet, Excel spreadsheet there. We have very few items that we have adjusted or amended for this upcoming February approval. We did cover these the other day in the work session. So the first sheet, if everyone is there, is strictly on our revenue. You'll find no changes there. I feel like we're comfortable on what we set our goals for, and we'll be fine there at year end. So June will be our year end. The second page will lead us into our expense reports. And these, you'll find that I've highlighted in yellow for you the changes that we have made. The first one on your list there, as we spoke of the other day, will be a number one, a salary, full-time person, slight increase of $2,000, and that is due again to the city administrator's new pay scale of fairness and equality and bringing each person within our city up to a fair basis of where they should be across the board. So we had a small increase there, along with, once that changes, then of course that would change some of the FICA, pension, Medicare numbers change just barely a little bit there, but those are due strictly to the pay scale increase. If you'll go on down to the second group under utility services, you will find that I've increased the website and email hosting from $5,000 to $6,000, or a difference of $1,000. That comes, again, I'll give Danny all the credit for that. That has come from building such a huge distribution list of people wanting more and more on our newsletters and different programs like that. So it's a good thing, but it's a bad thing. But we'll take the good out of that because it's just building a bigger and broader base for us, and the fees as we use the web program and all just go up, but that's a small increase. If you go on down to the next section of materials and supplies, office furniture and equipment. As we prepare, Mr. Reed was here earlier, our codes assistant director, to share with us about the progress of the toll renovation building. The building is moving along swiftly and, as you know, right on target and above target for being completed. So our next step is to really take seriously the furnishings of the toll building, with it being a full gallery inside along with a conference space in the back to accommodate conventions, plus furniture. There's a million little things. I have estimated, just built into the budget, an additional $100,000 to furnish the building. This also will be to purchase our tables for the conference of convention space back there, chairs. There's a lot that goes into all of this. I don't plan to use it all if we don't have to, certainly not, but I'm reserving the funding and putting it there to build out the gallery with the pedestals and everything that we will need to purchase for that, along with the furniture for the gallery. Going on down to services and support, you will find at the bottom building and grounds. We were currently at $65,000 on that. We have had some, as we talked about in our work session the other day, we've had major building repairs that we need to look at. We've got some roofs on properties down in Old Town that have to be replaced. We have, let me just read some of them off because we talked about them and I don't want you to forget about them, but let's see, building and grounds.
A lot of this, the hotel.
The old hotel, we talked about that. And also, can't find it on here right now where my line item is, but we talked about the old hotel. We had taken bids on that back in the summer, remember? And at that time, we asked for a bid on painting the exterior of the hotel and also filling in the cracks of the building. So we had already, from previous times in the budget, had that in there for that particular piece, but we had only put in $12,000 to $15,000 budgeted, because at the time we started talking about that a couple of years ago, things were less back then. So as we go from year to year and keep behind on all of that, then we don't, we have to pay the piper to get caught up on all of that. But the flooring in the old hotel, I've built in, should we choose to do that down the road, but I've gone ahead and put in the budget $5,000 to do the new flooring in that. When we had to dig up the flooring with the concrete and cutting out, under the building was pure dirt. It was just a concrete floor, but we had to take that out to the street level to find the problem of the backed up plumbing issues. And all of that, if you recall, was about $17,000. And at that time, our budget wasn't very big. So by the time we finished all that and got the street fixed back and everything else, we now have a messed up floor in there. So we're looking before we do anything with the building, whatever direction we go on that, but we are going to have to put in, and I think we'll do more like the vinyl flooring that we put in on the other side of the hotel suite. So this one would be on the larger suite over in that building. So we have that, plus we have the salt shack. We talk about that all the time, that sits down near the cabin. And we are in a position to where we either need to hear back from Berea College if they would like to receive that back, or if we go ahead and we put a new roof on that. It has no roof, as we talked about in the work session the other day. So I have gone ahead and budgeted $6,000 for that if we have to come up with some type of roofing for that. The roof that's on there now, the shingles, are not historical shingles. They are just normal wood. So I think the college would be fine on us putting back something better than what we have, but unfortunately we've got to put a base underneath that to be able to build something else to go over that. And the $10,000 I added was for the we did not in our, which was not called for, through our renovation of the toll building, we did not at that time put a line item in for the landscaping service, not services, but the new landscaping items that would be used around the toll building for beautification purposes. So we have a minimum of 58 plants that will be going all the way around the building. We have the light structure under the sign that we'll be replacing with new things as well. A new stone, a heavier, wider stone that would be going in, and a waterfall that we want to purchase for the front lawn there. So money has been built into that as a separate item of $10,000 for the decoration or the beautification of the toll building itself. So that would bring us up from a change from 65 to about 95 if all were used for that. The next page, please, if you go to the bottom, you'll see highlighted building improvements. We currently had $600,000 that we had put in there to cover the contractor's bid, with a small amount available for any change orders that we might have had on target. I have increased that an additional $100,000. I think this is a wonderful time to go ahead and to completely have everything in the warming area, the food prep area set in place, and go ahead and completely finish out furnishing the toll building so that we may move forward with that and not come back a year from now and try to do more piecework in the back area. We have the Learn Shot classes that we've made a few adjustments on for the space in there, and it will be quite nice with all of our presentation slides that we'll have available for everyone to be using. But at the same time, to go ahead and get the convection ovens put in and other things. As we talked the other day, we don't feel that this will be that amount of money, but again, I would like to reserve that and have it there should we need it. If we don't need it, we do not use it. So those changes have increased our budget of $237,600. So I will take any questions before I ask for a motion by the chair. Anyone?
Donna, I have a question. On the Berea Hotel. I think in our work session, we decided we wanted to get some further information from a structural engineer about the stability of the building while it's empty. I think that's what we decided.
That's fine, we can, yes.
And I think we had some discussion, but I want to make sure that we're clear that we want to do that before we do any substantial interior work. I mean, I would ask, Laura and Aaron and Will, you were there, and I'd like to get your input on what you understood that we finally agreed to do.
Yeah, that was my understanding as well, Chair, that we were going to get a better report and clarification from the engineer, then move forward with some of the other projects as well.
Yeah, and just, I guess for background, I'm sorry to interrupt, but for background for people that are not aware that there was a structural engineer report in the past that said the building upstairs was deflecting, which is engineer talk for sagging, I think, and what we might need to do to fix that. And also, in this whole process, kind of decide what would be the best use of the Berea Hotel going forward. I'm sorry to interrupt, Laura, but I thought I'd add that
No, I appreciate
context.
that. It's my understanding that we kind of talked about, since it is our historical hotel, we would love to bring it back to original, but with safety concerns, we wanted to make sure, and we read the structural engineer's report, which was several years ago, right?
Yes.
And it was very good. It was very doable then, but we just want to know about the cost because things have changed so much. And would that be something that we want to move forward with? And I'm like Rick, we're just kind of filling it out because we've inherited these buildings to take care of as a tourism, which was really weird to me when I got on board here. But that's our job. We got to maintain these properties and make them look good.
And I think we also discussed the company that did the initial walkthrough and report is still in business, so we talked about reaching out to them as well.
Reaching out to the same
company, yeah.
civil engineer.
Or
I just wanted,
We are going that direction, and we talked about that, and I'm all for that. That's fine. That was Mr. Sam's was it Sam's Engineering or something? Bill Sam's. But yes, we can do that. And we are doing that, because we said we would get some questions and answers answered about that. So that's fine. That doesn't affect anything about going ahead and putting these funds in a line item available there should we decide 3 months from now that we do need to paint and we do need the flooring fixed after we've talked with this person. So it doesn't mean we have to use it. It's just there and put in the budget should we down the road in the next 5 months have to use it. So, but it's fully understood of what you want to do with the engineer visit.
We also discussed too that on the kitchen, we thought 50,000, but I'm in agreement of raising that 100,000 just in case, because as we took on the Mitch Toll project, we did run into some 11,000 and 15,000. We had to come back, and that just kind of, I think, Donna, you do a great job doing this, and you work very hard, all of you do, and I am for you being a good steward of our money because we have that's our focus. And honestly, I think $237,000 increase, in my opinion, in this market and this time is very nice.
Thank you.
Wasn't there also something about the shingles and the roof on the back of the depot? Was that something that we had talked about having to have repaired? Okay, is that's included?
We didn't have a dollar amount on that yet, and we haven't had any bids, so that would be a project that we decide we wanted to tackle this year, or is that in 24, 25.
Okay.
So this is just an amended budget to see us through the end of June of this year, and then we start a new budget probably in March for July. So what we're putting here again is just reserving the funding, putting in a line item, and it's there on these changes. That does not mean that we use it if we don't have to, but it is there should we decide to make a move on it. So.
and Shelley, I want to open up, and let you have any questions.
Well, I did, but most of those questions have been answered. I was going to ask about if it was, if we're not utilizing the money for sure. So that answers some of the questions I had. And then I'm not sure what the long-term plan is for the Berea Hotel. I realize it's a historical landmark. I'm just not sure what we plan to do with it, or do we just want to open it as
That
type
can
of
be
a
future
museum type
discussion.
of?
Yeah.
Okay. There'll be a lot of, I think, the workshops that we have. Liz has done a super job on these workshops, and we don't have places to go. she's outgrowing, and we'll have her explain a little bit about the Kentucky teachers, just for the new guys on board that don't know, and some of the people that may be watching. You care to explain a little bit?
Hi. I know we've met, but I'll say Liz Todd, Program Manager. I've been partnering with KEDC, which is the Kentucky Educational Development Corporation, to provide opportunities for learn shops for K through 12 educators and administrators for 55 school districts across Kentucky. So we've been doing an average of 2 to 3 classes per month since August. And we kind of were thinking we would have 20 or 30 people max, because traditionally our classes max out at around 10. Well, we've had around 60 showing up, which is a wonderful problem to have, because it's more people, coming to Berea and discovering Berea and staying here. But because of that, and also our ongoing traditional seasonal learn shops, we're bursting at the seams, which is a great problem to have.
Yeah, they have no space. That's been one of our concerns. And another thing is, Donna was talking about the depot. If you want to tell them a little bit, and I may be out of line asking you all to do this, but I like to be crystal clear. The depot, if you can tell a little bit about it, that's where she's doing her workshops, and they're being rained on. I mean, and if we're going to do that, things, we need to do it right and make things.
If we do use the back platform, that is where the roof is leaking, and we do need to do some serious work on that platform. Plus, the concrete pad is split and cracked in a million directions. So having another building for space to do learn shops, Liz goes out, like Laura says, she's all over town. We greatly appreciate Berea College. We use our Chestnut Street Pavilion building all the time. Once the toll is done, we'll be using some of that small space as well. But we use a lot of facilities here in this town, complimentary to these great people, to conduct these classes in all year long. Like Liz says, it's not just one time a year anymore. We've really branched out, and we go, all year long with different classes. So.
And going back to the Berea Hotel, through our discussions we know that Berea Hotel is strategically important location. And at one time it was a very beautiful building, and it's still in its own way beautiful. But it's deteriorating, and we've discussed the Berea Hotel for several years, and I think we are thinking that now that it's empty, is a good time to get a structural engineer report, because we have ideas, but until we know what kind of shape it's in, how it can be, made more solid, and what our potential costs would be. It's hard to determine a final use of the building without knowing what we're beginning with. So I know this meeting and discussion about the Berea Hotel will bring a lot of questions from the community about how to best use it, and those suggestions are appropriate. But just kind of let people know what our thinking is during our work session. So.
And I don't want the building personally, I don't feel the building should sit there very long empty. That is prime property. It's sitting on the corner of Broadway and Adams. And when our tour buses roll in at that time, they're parking right there. And the first thing they may see is an empty building sitting there. That is not a welcome sight. So I agree, and I'm all for getting someone to come and visit with us right away. And then we make a decision after his visit with us of what we should do, and get a cost estimate on what he's looking at for a building repair of that type of work. And then we know whether that's something we want to move forward with, or it's going to be a year down the road, or we move forward and put someone in there on the bottom level, as we've done for the last 20 years. And I will follow through with that if that's what your wish is, to proceed. I'll work on that next week. with the engineer.
So, do I have a motion?
We will require a motion, a second,
on-
discussion, and approval for the budget,
Right.
sir.
Do I have a motion, and Donna, if you would give us that number again, so that we're clear about what the motion should,
$237,600 increase.
I make a motion that we approve the $237,600.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? I have a question as far as the $237,600. Do we need any further breakdown of that, or is this sufficient?
That is approving the amended budget that we just talked about, the line increases, and the total 237 is the changes that we've made and talked about here.
Any discussion? I'll call for a roll call vote. Will Gopher,
Yes.
Laura Carpenter,
Yes.
Aaron Crawford,
Yes.
Shelley Wolf.
Yes.
I'm also yes. Motion carries.
Thank you. I'll close out my report by, last time I totally forgot to bring and share with you our new street flags, banners that have arrived, as we talked about in our work session the other day with the new sign program rolling out this year, we hope. But anyway, these are our new colors for our new vision that we will have. These will be on street lamp poles down through Broadway. Plus we have new flags to also coordinate with these that will go in the merchant store, outside their stores to show, that say open. So we encourage our merchants in Old Town to always put their flags out the days that they're open, so it's easy for us to look over and say, hey, yes, if we have a tourist in the train station, then it's easy for them to look over and say, yes, she's open, walk right on over. So we have them already in stock at City Hall, ready to hang anytime. So as we start this, as we talked about in our work session the other day, we don't really want to piece all of this together year over year, and it was a huge expense to get all of the existing signs around town of 171 signs out there, repainted, rewrapped. But once we start this, I think we all agreed that we would proceed with fixing them all at one time. But that's for another discussion on when we start and all of that. But I just wanted to show you, and Joel and Marissa has not seen our new logos, along with everything else. So, Danny, if you don't mind sending that to them, or Becky, this will be going forward, our new ads that we'll be following up with. Much more color and life, and very attractively done, so. And Danny designed these for us, so. Okay, that will conclude my report. Thank you.
I think next on the list, Danny Gift.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I am excited, even though it's a little bit bittersweet, to give you my final media report before I hand the reins over to Becky. I've spent the last couple of days with her, just starting to show her things and train her on how we do things. And I can say with full confidence that you are going to be in the absolute best of hands. So she's already been wonderful to work with, and I'm excited to be able to take on new projects. So starting out, just a couple things with the numbers you'll see at the beginning of the report. you'll see something that I predict basically every winter, and that is our big drop in our total reach on Facebook. And a lot of that comes from the fact that we're not doing paid advertising right now. So if there was ever a time to look and see that our paid advertising is really paying off for us, this is it. Because you're going to see that number skyrocket in the spring. Something Becky and I talked about a little bit already is the fact that we don't put a lot of money into non-travel months. There's no reason to fight it when we can put that money in and have more power going with the current than trying to swim upstream. So you're really going to see those numbers dip, during the colder months, and then they're going to pop right back up when we start our spring advertisements. One thing I would like to mention, though, is that our engagement has stayed pretty much the same. My goal for the year was to keep our engagement at over 4,000 per month, and that included our likes, our shares, our comments, and so we've stayed over 4,000 even when that number drops. So even though we're not getting a lot of new traffic coming in and seeing our posts, the people who are watching it are still staying engaged, which is pretty exciting. As Donna mentioned, we're having to up our budget a little bit to provide more money for Constant Contact. That's because we have moved up another tier in terms of people who are interested in learning about us. And so that's through our, primarily through our Learn Shop distribution that goes out through there. A lot of our Learn Shop sales come from there. I know Liz and I have actually watched this happen multiple times where we'll send out the email blast and we'll just sit and watch, and we'll start seeing the Eventbrite notifications come in because people wait for it and they know that that's where to look. We also do our monthly and our weekly newsletters from there. So we are growing that audience, which is really exciting, which of course, does come with having to put more money into it, but it has proven to be a really solid investment for us because we can see the return coming back almost instantaneously. So I know last time I reported on the fact that the new restaurant page was up, which we were pretty excited about. The new lodging page will go up later next week. The last thing I'm adding is Airbnbs right now. And the way it's going to look now is instead of every place having their own page and description within our website, sort of like the restaurants did, it's all going to have external links. So you'll be able to see the lodging option, click on it, and it will automatically take you to a place where you can reserve it. So cutting out a lot of clutter on our website is sort of what I'm working on, which has been pretty exciting. We recently did an article with places.travel, and that was top 10 reasons to visit Berea. So that recently came out, and that will stay on their website eternally. And it will be, correct me if I'm wrong on this, Joel, it's on the Kentucky State Tourism website for a year. Okay, so we've got that on there for a year, but it stays on places.travel forever. So that was a really good one for us. I've been working on, I've updated the Berea Craft Festival logo. So just adding a little bit to last year, and you'll be able to see that on the last page of my report. And a lot of that came from some discussions that I had with different people who were out there with us, whether it be vendors, people visiting, and everyone just talked about how magical it was. So we did add the tagline, Magic in the Mountains. So because so many people get that kind of magical enchanted forest feel from it, and that's also a very popular thing right now where we see, the rise in Ren fairs. We see the rise in people's interest in fantasy. And anytime you can bring that in, and you see it a lot in the crafts that are out there anyway, anytime you can sort of bring that in and, capture someone else's attention, that's sort of what we're playing around with. So you'll see the new logo on the last page. And I'm also working on updating Berea's logo. That is also on your last page. So that way it will have our tagline, Craft Your Adventure, and it will be in our new colors that we're looking to use around the city. I have been providing content for a Kentucky Crafted ad as well as an ad for Kentucky Monthly. And as I said, I've been prepping our wonderful new media manager to take over. And other than that, I have been fully, like, I say fully, like that wasn't already 16 pages of things. Lately, I've been fully immersed in working on the craft festival. So getting that up and running with all of our paperwork, invitations, all of that. And the application for that will go live to the public next Friday. As for my yearly goals, the ones that I set for myself last January, I wanted to give one final report on that. You can see that on the second page. So every single month except for last January, we hit well over that 4,000 engagement goal that I had chosen for myself. And then with our new followers, the original plan was 1,000 new followers for the year. We ended with 1,470, so a 47% gain over what I had anticipated. So I set myself a stretch goal because that's what I do. And my stretch goal was 15,000 total followers, and we ended at 15,181. So that's pretty much all I have. Any questions?
I do. Becky, you've got big shoes to fill over here. You know that? You can do it, though. You can do it. I'm going to ask for the Airbnb owners because I'm not techie. And when you say this external link, I'm thinking other people that own these homes out there. Is that something that we need to do ourselves? I mean, could we use Airbnb, or is it going to bring
It's going to go to your Airbnb link where they can book with you.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So I've been looking all that up on my own, so that way I go onto Airbnb and I get the link that's directly to your
all the
site,
houses.
and so they'll click on your house and they can book directly with you.
Do you know how many houses that we have at Airbnb? It seems like it's really growing.
27, I believe, is my current count.
Awesome.
Yep.
Danny, let me ask you the click-through rate question that Donna asked,
Yes.
and Joel gave us his opinion of why that number was low. What's your opinion?
So I think in terms of the paid advertisements, Joel's absolutely right. If there's not a call to action, there's nothing for people to click on. If you're not giving them the opportunity to click on something or telling them to click on something, they're not going to do it. Kind of a good example of this is something that I played around with in our monthly newsletter. And we did it a little bit with Learn Shops too, and we found that it helped with Learn Shops. I put big, obnoxious buttons on everything that said click here. And click here for tickets, click here for a schedule, different things like that. And it was incredibly helpful. So definitely the click-through rate, we can increase. We just need to really work out that call to action. And, what is our message? What are we trying to get from them? If it's, click here for more information, or you get creative and say, start your adventure here, and have something for them to click. I think that right there is going to make a big difference.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you very much. I think it's Nancy Conley time.
Hello. New commissioners, I'm Nancy Conley. I'm the operations manager for Berea Tourism. Welcome, and thank you, commissioners, for giving me the opportunity to report to you. I'll start off by making the announcement. After the winter holiday season, we have entered our winter hours at our Berea Welcome Center. So we're open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Saturday, closed on Sundays. Last month at our Welcome Center, we welcomed 1,265 visitors to the facility. Looking at the year total for walk-in visitors, we're almost at 20,000. That's an increase by close to 3,000 compared to last year. I've put the full chart there from 2013 through 2023, so you can kind of look through that at your leisure and do any comparison there that you might like to see. There was a discussion about international travel earlier, and I'm happy to share with you all that we had international travelers from more than 25 countries, all continents except Antarctica. So that's kind of interesting. In your report, those are kind of listed out in the order. Obviously, North America was kind of the top there, and Europe was next in line, and so forth. At our Welcome Center, our reception staff and ourselves, our team, we have answered 1,620 phone calls for information on Berea. For 2023, it's a little bit less than the year before, so maybe folks are utilizing all the new technology these days. Looking at the Kentucky Visitor Guide, we talked a little bit about some of the marketing campaigns and push with them, and particularly some of the international travel and so forth. But those that are the couple new commissioners here that we have, I would like to let you know that when RPM had mentioned the ad in the Kentucky Visitors Guide, that ad has a lot of perks for us. One of those perks is by having an ad in that visitor guide, we're listed in a request more information from these cities kind of listing. So if you're actually take an ad in that guide, you have some more marketing avenues that are complimentary. So year to date, we had, let's see, that was 1,260 requests from that visitor guide, where the state actually sent us a list of leads of folks requesting more information on Berea. So that also helped grow Danny's constant contact list for our newsletter, monthly newsletter. But that also played into our office doing some direct mailings. So they'll indicate if they want a map of the area, more information. We can see kind of what regions of Kentucky they've requested more information on. So that's really neat. To get those leads and kind of see where that information, what other communities they're requesting information on. This year, last year, 2023, our office did 2,183 direct mailings. So those are folks that have asked us, please send us actual paper, tangible information. So we're still getting those requests, even with all the technology that's available for folks. And the odd thing is a lot of times they're requesting the paper material through the technology that we have. In looking at those visitor guide leads for from the state, we always kind of give you the overview of what states people are requesting information on Berea from. And so those top 10 states have pretty much remain the same. They're in a different order than the last couple years. Tennessee did make it on the list this year. It was number 11 last year. And so Tennessee kind of moved up to the number 9th place, and Pennsylvania fell off the list of the top 10, but they're number 11 this year. So you can kind of look at the last couple years and see they've just kind of played musical chairs. As you know, we partnered with the Madison County Animal Shelter for Pictures with Santa and a pet food and cat litter drive. We did that December 16th at the Berea Welcome Center. This year we collected over 600 pounds of either animal food or cat litter that was donated to the shelter, almost double what we collected last year. Thank you everyone who participated in that drive. That was a great drive. Another drive currently happening, just a reminder on that, organized by Kaylin Wilson, is the Winter Coat Drive. The drop-off box is in our office until the end of January. Also a drop-off box at Near New Auto to collect gently used, or new coats, socks, or scarves for room in the inn. You'll notice in town it looks like really clean, and there's no more decorations up, and all the beauty is kind of, been taken down. We thank the Public Works Department and the Fire Department and everyone who helped our team get those decorations down, and our team is working on getting those packed and stored properly for the next few months. Quick update on a couple of our shops. in the Old Town Artisan Village. Weston Glass is closed for the next couple weeks, possibly 2 to 4 weeks. So she's having a new ceiling installed in her workspace. And so you all in a few weeks go down and check that out and kind of see what her new look looks like there. The Cabin of Old Town, each year they close down for a week or so, clean everything, get restocked, and so we're eagerly anticipating their reopen. And Honeysuckle Vine always closes during the winter months, so we expect they'll be back in March or April. But just a reminder, the Artisan Village is open for business, so come down. We have a lot of great shops that you can enjoy. The last piece on my report is about motor coach groups. And in December, we welcomed Sunrise Tours 3 different days in Berea, and our office worked with them. Sunrise Tours came December 1st, 8th, and 15th. They had dinner, stayed the night, and had breakfast at Boone Tavern. I provided a step-on tour for all 3 of those groups. They loved watching our working artisans. They shopped the area, and before they came to Berea, they made arrangements with local artists to purchase ornaments as a gift to each traveler on their bus. We also had Boone County Senior Center December 2nd, and they enjoyed dinner at their hotel, catered by Lee's. They stayed overnight at the Holiday Inn Express and had breakfast there. Danny Gift provided a step-on tour to the group. They enjoyed watching working artists. They did some shopping in Berea, and they also purchased ornaments ahead of time as a gift to all the travelers on their bus. And that group also enjoyed lunch at Boone Tavern. So that would conclude my report. I'll take any quick questions if you have any questions for me. Thank you.
Nancy, let me, you mentioned Christmas decorations are
Yes.
down.
Uh-huh.
And Donna mentioned a Hallmark mentioned in Election Herald Leader. And, one of the ideas we talked about in our work session was creating contests to engage locals. I think because of Berea's beauty and its location, I think we have an opportunity to even do more in developing Berea as a Christmas decoration, to look at decorations. And what I would like to see is to get local homeowners involved in adding to those decorations. So just an idea for next year, I would like to see some kind of great Christmas decorating contest with a great prize to kind of supplement what we do as a city in tourism as far as Christmas decorations, and get the local community even more involved in the local businesses. So that's just an idea.
Very nice, very nice. I believe that the Berea Chamber of Commerce in the past has done some decorating and contests. This last year, neither the chamber or ourselves had that contest, but we have in years past. So it'll be interesting to kind of revisit that idea and see what we can do with it.
I just think it would a great prize, and I don't know what the budget would that be, but I think a great prize for that, working with the chamber, working with the city, would motivate a lot of people.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. And Liz Todd, you're up.
Hi, I'm Liz Todd. I'm the program manager. Thank you all for being here today. Better look at my clock so I don't talk too long. Again, you all know my focus has been Learn Shops. I'm just going to quickly go over what we've done in 2023 and what our plans are for this year, 2024. I promised that I would give you a recap of our Hokuto City conversation. So we did do that 7 p.m. call with them on the 14th of December, and it was wonderful. I think they had about 20 representatives on, and Nancy Conley and Donna and Sherry Schlomer and myself, Jeff Farmer popped in. We're on the call as well to represent Berea. And they have some terrific ideas as far as doing a first steps, welcoming each other's cities, doing an introduction to each other's cities. And one of the things that they really want to focus on is highlighting artists and craftspeople and a very quick, easy link to access their wares and goods. Not necessarily a bio or a headshot, but just a quick link to connect them to those products and those people. So that is something that we've been working on. Danny's already gotten something together that we will launch with them in March, and we have a follow-up meeting with the same people, our small group here in Berea, on Friday, just to kind of finalize exactly what we want our content to look like. We do have an existing sister city link on the city government, the City of Berea page, but it primarily just talks about statistics and the sister city program without going as much into the education and the art portion. So we hope that we can tie that into tourism and really work on that opportunity that we've all talked about for international travel and sharing what is so special about Berea with others. As far as our Learn Shops go, we had a really great year in 2023. We did a couple of seasonal classes. We hopped right in February, even though it was cold, with a blacksmithing intensive because we had a waiting list that kind of fell over from December and some makeups due to ice and things like that. So that was a sold out session. We had 24 tickets sold. I do want to talk about blacksmithing a little bit. I know it's not for everybody. It does not appeal to me. I think it's really cool, and I would like to have some of the items in my home, but it's not for me. That being said, in 2021 and 2022, 82% of the people that took our classes were men. And now, in 2023, we have an almost 50-50 split between men and women. I just find that really interesting, and it's not at all unusual to step out on the back platform and see a class of just women taking the class. So I think that's really neat that it's expanding and that people are just wanting to kind of grow and expand and learn more about things that aren't traditionally, I don't know, gender specific or whatever. So that's been an interesting development as over the few last couple of years. One of the sessions that we kind of just did to kind of feel out what it would be like to do a class in a bigger session, a bigger seasonal session in spring, was the Enchanted Spring Learn Shop. We did that in April, and then we did a pop-up in May on Oaks Day as well, and that was super successful. We found that people were just itching to get back in the classroom. Watercolor was top grossing in sales. We had 2 new artists and 9 new classes, and we sold 74 tickets for that event. And then we sold out for our May Derby pop-up, which was actually the first curated cocktail class that Dee West taught for us at Honeysuckle, and that was a huge hit, focused on history and some top cocktail recipes from Kentucky. And then we, of course, did our Festival of Learn Shops in 2023. We offered 96 classes. We had 351 orders, 427 tickets were sold, and less than 1% of refunds. It was quite a phenomenon, actually, because the few people that did reach out saying, oh gosh, my friend's having surgery or this or this, they were just like, oh no, we don't expect to get our money back, or we want to support the arts, or I'll just come back next time. Or we were able to find a better option for them and they could come the next day. Or they were like, I moved things around so I can come after all. Like it was an urgency that they wanted to support the Learn Shops. They were going to either be there or they're going to support the art no matter what. And that is, if you just look at the comparison for 2022, where we actually had a 5.4% refund rate. I think a lot of that, if we look at the trends of COVID, as we kind of mentioned in the marketing presentation, there has been a lot less of our classes being canceled and refunds being given because of COVID. So that is a wonderful trend to see happening within our Learn Shops. Make It, Take It, Give It was a little more low-key this year. I wanted to keep it really, really focused, really, really curated. It was very successful. It was very intimate. Watercolor was top grossing. Blacksmith, second grossing in sales. We had 109 tickets sold total. It's really important that I know we talk about space a lot, but it's really important that I do recognize the spaces that we do have access to. Priscilla from the Parks Department is absolutely so generous in sharing the Russell Acton Folk Center with us. We have the Senior Center, the intergenerational building. It's the same building, but people call it that. That is a city building, but it's used for the Senior Center. And Lisa is so amazing with letting us use that space. Just so many things that we do. We're at City Hall on Fridays. They don't blink an eye. They're super like welcome. We're lugging in random, pots and mops for Appalachian music, and nobody bats an eye. Hi, Bruce. So anyway, it's we do have limited space, but I'm so gracious to the spaces that we do have. I actually got to tour the Appalachian Center today at Berea College, and Heather Dent and Chris Miller there are so fantastic and so warm. And that space, if you've been in it, is so cozy, but it's got a lot of room. So that is a new space that we've added to our roster of locations, and it can actually accommodate 60 auditorium style, so if we're just doing a lecture, or 40 if we're doing a classroom setup. So that's really, really nice and very gracious of them. We're really trying to lean into our classes that embrace those Appalachian roots when we are in their space. And then Heather's going to teach some classes for us as well, which will be neat when we can have her schedule work with ours. Just a couple of extra numbers for Learn Shops. We worked with 7 new artists in 2023, and then we totaled 16 new artists that are scheduled to teach through this year. So basically we made introductions and gained 16 new artists total in 2023, which is very exciting. Continued partnership with KEDC, which you all mentioned, we talked a little bit about. It has been fantastic. So far, we have offered classes to approximately 329 K through 12 educator and administrators from 55 school districts, and provided paid teaching opportunities for 9 artist instructors, 12 more in the next 5 months, utilized classroom space in 5 locations, and we've added 3 more. It's really been terrific for relationship building within our community. I think that's the biggest thing. We have just really made those connections with the people around us, not only artists and educators, but also just the people in the community that are excited to know what we're doing and to be involved and really want to forge those collaborations, because people are more open to doing things like that, I think, than sometimes we're aware of. So if you just have those conversations, it's been very positive and very enlightening. A quick thing I wanted to share, and then I'll wrap up. We have Danny designed this fantastic Welcome KEDC Learn Shops poster that we use on our core class signs, the yard signs we stick out in front of our classes so the teachers know where they're going, because they don't know what Folk Center means sometimes. So these are outside all of our classrooms on the big posters. Well, Robert from the Welcome Center also added this awesome QR code, so they can just scan this. It takes us straight to the website, to all of our lodging, all of our fabulous restaurant page, boutiques, everything like that. So that'll be on the double doors at every location as well, if they don't pick up their packet that I give them or talk to them. So grateful to be here. I'm over my time. Anyone have any questions for me?
I wanted to ask you about this Churchill Weaver's
Yes.
school tour, and yeah.
I know, I have so much to talk about, see? Just kidding. Yes, so on Friday, D West is hosting 60 of our educators, and we are having Ashland, Henry Clay, they are coming. Their head curator is coming to do a 2-hour demonstration on history then and now, as it has evolved over the last few years. As we know, history has changed the way it is taught and described. So he is going to come and talk to our educators about that with artifacts, PowerPoint demonstration, lecture, roundtable Q&A. We'll break, and then Dee and friends will be doing a 1-hour tour of the Churchill facility. I don't know if you are aware, but he is quite the historian. That whole family is very passionate about that space, and they know all about it, the ins and outs, the weaving that's preserved in Frankfurt, everything. So they're also going to do a...
So it's just for the educators. I thought maybe they were on.
I mean, if you were to pop in, you could probably walk around with me, and I won't tell anyone. I won't charge you a ticket or anything. I'm just kidding. I'm not charging tickets.
I love history too.
I'll shoot you a message.
Okay.
So yeah, some amazing classes coming up, and we're really excited about that. Any other questions?
Liz, I don't have a question, I have a comment.
Yeah.
I think the success of the Learn Shops and the KEDC Learn Shops just really demonstrates how powerful Berea's brand is the folk arts and crafts capital of Kentucky. And I think when people think of Berea and they think of these Learn Shops, they think of quality and history. And we should be very proud of having responsibility to promote that.
I'm very honored to be in this role, trust me. It's been an honor to curate this schedule as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, thank you for your time today.
Okay, it looks like it's come to the point of the agenda for commissioner comments. So, open the floor for those.
I'll start that. I kind of got y'all down a rabbit hole, and I apologize for that. But I just, once again, I want to thank you all for the work you do. And when you all mention hanging Christmas lights and taking them down, that is a horrible job. You know, I'm just going to say it, and I appreciate it. You all never complain, and I appreciate our fire department. We don't hear it. We don't hear it. You've got smiles on your faces, and I don't know if you all get thanked enough, and I just want to say thank you. And welcome, Shelley. Shelley and I go way back. We went to high school together. And welcome. We go way back. We kind of did a bluegrass thing together. So, but welcome, and I'm just so grateful. He's already in our meeting added so much about the fire department and the things he knows, the knowledge that I have no idea. And I look forward to seeing what Shelley's going to bring too.
I just wanted to, same thing, kind of thank you all. I know it looks like by the numbers 2023 looked like a great year. I know it felt like a really good year for everything. So I really look forward to 2024 and seeing what we do this year. So
It's already been said, but I think we need to again thank Christy Napier and Becky Brown for their service. And I also welcome Will and Shelley. And I hope you get engaged and speak up and participate as you feel best, and welcome.
Well, I'd like to echo that. I know all the work that goes in on the city preparing for Christmas and everything, and thank you all for that, for the work you all put in. And I'd like to thank everybody for the warm welcome. I'm serving in this capacity now. It's like I look forward to it and look forward to working with each of y'all over the next few years. So thank you all very much for that.
I want to thank you all for the warm welcome as well and the hospitality, and you all do a fabulous job. I've enjoyed listening to everybody's reports today, and I told Donna yesterday, I said I'll probably try to be really quiet and listen tomorrow so I can learn a lot. And Laura knows I'm not a very quiet person, so so thank you all.
Okay, anybody else have anything to say? All right, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion's been made, motion's been seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?